Chris Jones has been a friend of mine for many, many years. And the people who think that I am somehow wrong for defending a child molester, he is not a child molester, never has been. He's a great Christian friend of mine. Saying Hovind's an evil person because he let Chris Jones come on his property. Chris Jones is a child pornographer, convicted of child pornography. Now, Chris has been a longtime friend of mine. I said, Chris, you're welcome at Dinosaur Adventure Land. These guys work fed, but they say, I don't think Chris Jones ought to come. Okay, thank you. I heard your opinion. I think you should. And I'm not a pedophile enabler. Stop lying about me. Chris brought Zaire here with prearranged permission from Paul Hansen, myself.
Well, would you like me to make a bed for him in the man cave? Dr. Hovind said no. I'm going to put him in the house next door.
Paul testified nothing happened. Chris testified nothing happened. Zaire said nothing happened.
Really, all I remember is dozing off. Then he woke me up to get in the bed, and I got in the bed and went straight to sleep. And I woke up feeling weird. I woke up and I had felt like my legs just gave up, and then like 15 minutes later, that's when like my legs just come back.
Hey brother, Kent Hovind here. I just got a call from Steve Boland claiming that Zaire is pressing charges against Chris. This whole drama is never going to quit, brother. Just completely ignore them. They don't get it, bunch of morons.
Christopher L. Jones is a convicted sex offender who Kent Hovind has stated several times is innocent of the crimes that a jury of his peers convicted him. Hovind says it's a tactic to discredit Jones by the Hollywood elite. Without getting into too many details, Chris Jones was convicted on March 12, 2008 of 4 out of 7 counts. 1 count lewd or lascivious acts with a minor and 3 counts lewd or lascivious acts with a minor under the age of 14. According to the appeal filed by Jones, the court found that these charges were, and I quote, supported by substantial evidence. The appeal decision further explains that ample evidence showed defendant constructively touched the boys during the strip poker game. Defendant instigated the strip poker game, coerced them into playing by promising them they could watch a movie, and directed them to undress during the game. Furthermore, substantial evidence also shows defendant orchestrated the strip poker game with the specific intent to gratify his sexual desires. Now, many would think that this in itself would be enough to convince anyone of a person's guilt. Not Hovind. In fact, Hovind had this to say about Chris Jones.
So it's been interesting to see the comments. I posted a Facebook comment yesterday, I think it was, about someone had a YouTube up about me about a friend of mine named Chris Jones. I'm not going to do, he did take it down, so I'm not going to do a long program on that. However, Chris Jones has been a friend of mine for many, many years. I've known he was railroaded completely by the system because he knew things about what happened at the jail. They threw him in jail for absolutely no reason. The guards beat him unconscious. When he got released later to await trial for this false charge they brought him up on, the guards beat another prisoner and beat him to death. And so the guards at the prison were claiming, and the U.S. attorney, district attorney, whatever it was, was claiming, well, this is a one-time incident. And Chris was going to testify, no, it's not. This is routinely what they do. And so they had to shut him up somehow. So they made up these wild charges from an incident from 5 years earlier, I believe it was. Anyway, it was insane. So it's all over. Forget it. Drop it. The story is not, the people who are reporting the story do not know the facts, and the people who think that I am somehow wrong for defending a child molester do not know the fact. He is not a child molester, never has been. He's a great Christian friend of mine.
That's right. Hovind uses the same tactics of deflection, dishonesty, and misdirection in order to defend his longtime friend. In a phone call, Hovind admits to knowing about the strip poker incident. However, he stated that because the boys only got down to their underwear that no crime was committed. Hovind states that we don't know the facts. Well, fact. Christopher L. Jones was convicted in a court of law of 4 counts relating to child molestation and pedophilia. Fact. Kent Hovind acknowledged that the strip poker game happened, as evidenced here with a phone call between Hovind and truck driving Kid Billy.
Alright.
Known him for years. Great guy.
And honestly, my biggest issue is if he should have knew better than to do that kind of game with kids though. That's my biggest issue.
Well, he lived there. You need to give him a chance to defend himself. He lived with his family. He knew these boys. They were just horsing around, like 10 or 11 years old. Doing. I don't know exact details, but let him defend himself. Anyway.
After Kid Billy released his series of videos on Chris Jones, Jones left him this voicemail.
Hey, yo, Billy, this is Chris. I talked to you the other day when you were Kent. You gave me a call on your phone. Anyways, you called me a while ago and said that he told you a little bit about my case, and you had a very negative reaction to it. And hang on, I'm driving. There's the incident right here. Yeah, but man, you can't judge my stuff. You don't even know what happened. And number two, what did I have to do with Kent? First of all, I should have got more maybe intel before I made this phone call. But you know about the whole Bohemian Grove stuff. Hopefully, I went to Bohemian Grove trying to document the government's corruption of satanic worship, and basically as retribution, I was framed. I sent you a link from a former head of the FBI who had testified in my trial that I was being framed. But yeah, my actual crime, if you want to know what the technical crime was, it was throwing a 11-year-old boy in the pool in his underwear. That's my big sex crime. But yeah, that sex offender stuff does kind of set people off. And I told Kent not to, I guess he didn't understand how people get upset. But anyways, it was 13 years ago. Even if I am guilty, hopefully the blood of Christ works. At least you're not questioning that. Blood of Christ works, man. We're all forgiven and cleaned up. And anyway, we don't have to be friends, but I hope, my association with Kent should carry no animosity on that direction. Anyway, wish you all the best. Shalom.
Even if I'm guilty. And no, Chris Jones, your big sex crimes were lewd and lascivious acts with minors. Let's change gears for a second. Kent Hovind owns and operates Dinosaur Adventureland. Dinosaur Adventureland serves as home to many who work there, and many of those workers have families who live on property. Hovind has housed Jones at Dinosaur Adventureland. In fact, Kent Hovind says that Chris Jones has an open invitation to return anytime he wishes.
Now, Chris has been a longtime friend of mine. I said, Chris, you're welcome at Dinosaur Adventureland.
Yes, Kent Hovind had Tier 3 registered sex offender Chris Jones stay at Dinosaur Adventureland, where small children live. Hovind also boasts that Dinosaur Adventureland sees many visitors a year. Now, what could go wrong with this situation? Allegedly, Chris Jones brought a minor child to Dinosaur Adventureland. Even though Kent Hovind first denied the child's attendance, there's no question that Zaire was there and Kent Hovind knew about it.
All right, good to have you all here. Zaire visiting from Georgia, did I say it right? And you got to see, let's see, feed the turtle today, got to feed the rabbits, got to feed the emus, and you want to say hi to Mom, right, Zaire? Come on, get up here and say hi to Mom, okay.
So.
Wait, you're not done yet, you're not done yet. Come on, you got to be a movie star right here. Look at the camera and say hi, Mom.
Hey.
Okay.
Hovind has been incredibly tight-lipped about the scenario. And remember,
I also have a ministry to protect.
That is a lie from the pit of hell.
I don't have a ministry to protect?
I was mad at Chris. I was mad at Chris because I got up and I said, Chris, what's he in your bed for? You got these charges. What the heck are you in bed with a kid for? Completely dressed.
But it was also the only bed in the house. It's
Yeah,
not like he had
but
a
anyway, I was just like, you couldn't convince me then that you should have done that. And,
See, the way people say things, he was in bed with a child.
yeah,
There's a way to make it sound worse than it is, you know.
I know, but
There's also a point.
but Chris has to remember, you don't get close to that fire.
But wait a minute, now, there's two things to consider here. That's Chris's decision and the kid's decision. Somebody did a YouTube on an atheist website saying Hovind's an evil person because he let Chris Jones come on his property. Chris Jones is a child pornographer, convicted of child pornography or child pedophilia. Absolutely not true. Okay, there's a whole lot more to the story.
Chris Jones has been a friend of mine for many, many years. I've known he was railroaded completely by the system because he knew things about what happened at the jail. They threw him in jail for absolutely no reason. The guards beat him unconscious. When he got released later to await trial for this false charge they brought him up on, the guards beat another prisoner and beat him to death. And so the guards at the prison were claiming, and the U.S. attorney, district attorney, whatever it was, was claiming, well, this is a one-time incident. And Chris was going to testify, no, it's not. This is routinely what they do. And so they had to shut him up somehow. So they made up these wild charges from an incident from 5 years earlier, I believe it was. Anyway, it was insane. So it's all over. Forget it. Drop it. The story is not, the people who are reporting the story do not know the facts. And the people who think that I am somehow wrong for defending a child molester do not know the fact. He is not a child molester, never has been. He's a great Christian friend of mine.
So let's see. So Chris, and he brought a young boy, a 13-year-old young black boy from his area up there where he's from, who is being raised without a father. And Chris took him in under his wing to kind of be dad to him. Chris is not a pedophile. He's on a registry, but he shouldn't be, okay? But he's not a pedophile. There's nothing dangerous about Chris Jones, okay?
I go to his house and I'm talking to him about this. I'm like, Dr. Hovind, I just talked to this guy. Like, this isn't good. And anyway, Dr. Hovind always says, don't worry about it. I'll handle it. Not a big deal, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, well, would you like me to make a bed for him in the man cave? Dr. Hovind said, no, I'm going to put him in the house next door.
Cindy owned a house about a half a mile from here. It had nothing in it but a mattress on the floor and I don't know, a table or something, not an unfurnished house. Chris and Paul and this boy Zaire stayed the night there.
Now, I want to make this very clear. Dr. Hovind keeps claiming that was Cindy's house. That was not Cindy's house. There was a different lady that owned that home at that time. So I don't know why Dr. Hovind is saying those things. So that's not true. I told Dr. Hovind my bed is the only thing there that is left that I wasn't able to put in the back of the truck yet to take to our new house that we got. So there's no room for Chris Jones and this little boy to do that over there. The house is bare. The house is empty. Dr. Hovind said, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. I will handle it. You go home and be with your husband.
So Paul Hansen and Chris and this boy Zaire went over to stay over there. One of the guys that left here got kicked out of the military because he was crazy. He's still crazy. He's probably doing most of this spreading the rumors around. Here he is living alone with his 8 or 9 year old daughter for all these years, and out in the middle of Washington someplace, and accuses us of all kinds of things. I think he needs to be investigated very carefully. So some of the ex-helpers like Mark are doing similar things to try to stop us from building our ministry. They start evil rumors that we're breaking the law or harboring pedophiles. Mark Stoney came to DAL with his daughter, Mackenzie, under the guise of seeking refuge from her parents, his parents, who he said were bigots and had kidnapped his daughter. Mark had me and my whole staff here buffaloed about his strong Christian convictions. But there was never a peep about his former affiliation with the Aryan nation and the white supremacy leanings. Mark presented himself as the greatest man you'd ever want to know, and he and his daughter plan to live here permanently. I wrote my thoughts out here so I get it all. Don't forget anything, okay? Everything was fine until I wouldn't let Mark dictate who is and is not allowed to DAL property. This is the issue. These guys work fed, but they say, I don't think Chris Jones ought to come. Okay, thank you. I heard your opinion. I think he should. Oh, and they get mad. Go start your own camp and don't let him come to your camp. But you're not telling us how to run this one. Simple. Basically, it boils down to he can't run it. He can't tell me what to do. Therefore, I'm mad. Okay, get mad, go away. All right. Mark Stoney, the former white supremacist, being concerned about the welfare of a black child is laughable. Mark would actually be ecstatic if something did happen to the child, just so it would bring down my ministry.
I could have swore I heard the word white supremacist. Now you went on to this other stuff, but just for a moment, can we focus on that? What is this about white supremacy? Are you saying that he was like a skinhead or something? What is that?
Well, he had and didn't mask it very much, but he had leanings toward the white supremacy movement. The black people are inferior, the whites are superior. That's KKK kind of stuff. Okay.
Oof, that's rough.
Who is being raised without a father, and Chris took him in under his wing to kind of be dad to him. Chris is not a pedophile. He's on a registry, but he shouldn't be, okay? But he's not a pedophile. There's nothing dangerous about Chris Jones, okay?
He is not a child molester, never has been. He's a great Christian friend of mine. I like Chris Jones. Chris, you're a great friend. Keep up the good work, and God has great plans for you, brother.
Chris brought Zaire here with prearranged permission from Paul Hansen, myself. Cindy owned a house about a half a mile from here. It had nothing in it but a mattress on the floor and a table or something, not unfurnished house. Chris and Paul and this boy Zaire stayed the night there. Chris brought Zaire here with prearranged permission from Paul Hansen, myself, and his mother.
But he came home and he was telling me about the trip that from Dinosaur land. I didn't know what he was talking about.
When Zaire got scared and came in and said, Chris, can I stay with you? Chris said, let me call your mom. Mom, he knows the family well. Mom, is it okay if Zaire sleeps with me? Oh, yes, please do. He gets scared easy. Well, nothing happened. Paul testified nothing happened. Chris testified nothing happened. Zaire said nothing happened.
He gave me a drink. I didn't know what it was, but it was good. Really, all I remember is dozing off. Then he woke me up to get in the bed, and I got in the bed and went straight to sleep. And I woke up feeling weird. Like I woke up and he said, "Come on," and we had to go to like where this little group was doing Bible study or whatever. And I woke up and I had felt like my legs just gave up, and then like 15 minutes later, that's when like my legs just come back.
Now, two boys that he was staying with, it's a long story, they were playing strip poker and asked if he would deal, and he refused for quite a while. On your program, one of the guys said, "Oh, Chris asked, I'm going to get that boy. I'm going to," like it was Chris's idea. It was not.
And partly out of anger, I mean, I got in my mom's house, and my first instinct was to do the same thing to the 11-year-old that he did to the 12-year-old.
Show him how it feels. Yeah.
Right, but I figured if I do it that way, I'm just going to reinforce his might makes right. And he's the mighty one, so when I'm not there, he's continuing to do it. So I'm like, man, I have to have a way where the 11-year-old, or the 12-year-old essentially does it to the 11-year-old. So that's where I got my idea, stupid idea perhaps, of playing a game. So I got a deck of cards. It was the 9-year-old little game of, I don't remember how it worked, adding the cards up. So it was a quick game, not at a table, not an official, there was a big strip poker, whatever, that's how it gets labeled. But no, it was very quick, and I would stack the cards to make sure the 12-year-old won, and we made the
autistic one win.
Yeah, we made the 11-year-old strip to his underwear.
By the way, one of the guys who used to be here, who has a YouTube channel, last name Stoney, he offered Zaire's mother a scholarship of $10,000 to put him to college if she would come out and testify bad things about us. That's where all this is coming from. Mark Stoney used to work here, He got kicked out of the military for being, loony, and he is loony. We sent him he's gone, okay, been gone a couple of years. He just did one video, Kent Hovind is a child molester. Cindy owned a house about a half a mile from here. It had nothing in it but a mattress on the floor and a table or something, not unfurnished house. Chris and Paul and this boy Zaire stayed the night there.
Now, I want to make this very clear. Dr. Hovind keeps claiming that was Cindy's house. That was not Cindy's house. There was a different lady that owned that home at that time. So I don't know why Dr. Hovind is saying those things. So that's not true.
From a legal aspect, take this into consideration. Take all personal feelings, take anything aside, and completely take Doc out of the subject and take Chris out of the subject on a personal manner. Listen, he is a registered sex offender, no matter whether he's guilty or not, okay? Even if he was innocent, which he's not. So even if he was innocent, listen, he's a legally registered sex offender, okay? Convicted, legally registered sex offender that took a minor child across state lines, multiple state lines, into a different state. But it's the whole ordeal of the subject is whether Doc is innocent or not. Doc is mentally retarded for the stupid decision to say literally enable, not only more than enable, but literally provide a convicted registered sex offender a private house, a private bedroom, and a boy. Okay, that is the dumbest thing from any PR perspective or morals, Christianity and everything. Whether Chris was innocent or guilty, the dumbest thing in the world that you can do from a PR point, a business standpoint, a moral standpoint, or anything, is provide a registered sex offender a child and a bedroom, 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 a child and a bedroom.